So I had chapter 17, which is investigation of energy and utilities. So I found this really interesting because you can have a beat that makes up energy and utilities, and I never realized that. But it kind of makes sense because utilities and energy are a big thing, and they affect a lot of people. We need to report on energy and utilities because prices are going up. Why are they going up? What's the causes of all of these different things like oil and electricity and things like that. And so we need to report and investigate on energy and utilities because it can affect families, people, and it can affect the environment. So as human beings who rely on the environment, we need to know what's going on, what corporations and people are doing that might be harming the environment, and we need a watchdog on the environment to protect us and our families. A utility is a business allowed to operate as a monopoly or near monopoly in exchange for offering its services to everybody in a defined geographic area for a reasonable price, reasonable to consumers and to the utility, subject to public review. So that was kind of interesting that it acts as a monopoly, and that is kind of something that we want to stray away from. So different places that we can find reports on that can help us investigate energy and utilities. The first one is the FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And with this one, it's a part of the U.S. Department of Energy, and it talks about rules on rates for the transportation and sale of natural gas and oil, the transmission and sale of electricity, and the licensing of hydroelectric power projects. And you can find the FERC through their regional administrations, and they're located in different states. But they have a lot of documents that you can use to do your investigating on. And so just some of those documents, they're on page 419 in the book, but it talks about the annual electric control and planning area report. And then there's the compilation of data for costs and quality of fuels. It's a certain form. And then another one is the electric utility annual report. And there's a lot of online records and information that reporters can find that can help you investigate different things. Okay, so the next one is the NERC, the North American Electric Reliability Council. And with this one, it promotes reliability of interconnected electric systems in North America, and they coordinate planning and operation of transmission systems and power generations. So the NERC also works with the Department of Energy on technical and policy issues concerning their industry. Now, the NERC has many publications as well that you can use to do your investigating with. And one of those is the reliability of bulk electric systems in North America, and it's published every year, and it's an overview of the nation's general capacity and the transmission capacity for the next 10 years. So there's that one. The next one, let's see. So, okay, also there's different things that you can report on that you might not think about. And there's the rural utility services. And for this one, if you're living in a certain area, there might be different policies for your rural area. And then you can also look into Securities and Exchange Commission. There's also privately owned utilities outnumber the public holding companies 5-1. So there's lots of different private places that you can look into. On page 422 in the book, if you wanted to follow along, there's questions that they list. that journalists investigating utilities and energy need to ask people in their region. And so I'm just going to list a couple of those, but it says questions that we need to be asking are electric utilities changing rates on their own as they compete against alternative power sources that allow big manufacturers and other major customers to generate their own electricity? If they are cutting rates, are they laying off workers or executives? If they're raising rates, what are the true causes of those raises? Are regulators looking out for low-income households? Do regulators require utilities to offer and promote conservation measures to businesses? There's lots of different questions that we can be asking, and we need to be asking if we're reporting on energy and utilities. Now, there's lots of different energy and utilities. There's water, there's oil, there's nuclear, there's electric, and we can go into any different avenue and I'm sure find lots of good stories that we should be reporting on and letting the public know about. So, let's see, on page 424, it talks about nuclear power and how there's different documents that help you understand that there's relicensing of nuclear plants, aging of nuclear plants, security, public safety, nuclear waste. These are lots of things that the public want to know about and that we should be reporting on so that they can understand what is going on in their neighborhood if they live near a nuclear power plant and how it's going to be affecting them even if they don't live near one. So the other ones are we talked about gas and electricity, and then there's also water and how journalists should be looking out for water safety in their area and how water is being used as part of the utilities. There's also different ones that I didn't know about, which was the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. And this one talks about how we can and should be reporting on communication. Journalists should check the FCC headquarters or its region offices on stories considering the licensing, annual report inspection, and disciplinary files, and lots of these are unavailable in state capitals, so you want to go to the regional offices. But you want to be asking questions about how communications are being used. Sorry about that. So the different ways of communication, there's telephone lines, there's cable, there's lots of different things. And so we can be looking for stories about communications, like rate increases, renewal terms, community programming, and in public files. And lots of these things can help us understand what's going on considering utilities and energy and help us know that we really need to be reporting on these things for the benefit of the public.